I guess I'll share a little bit about myself. So I am originally from Iran. I'm gonna get rid of my email going off. So I was born and raised in Tehran a long time ago. And I guess what I'll say about my earlier life is that I happened to have a mom who had multiple autoimmune conditions when I was first born. So I grew up with learning, I guess, what it was like to be following her around in the medical system of Iran, one of the most broken places in the world, I guess, now, in many ways, politically and resource-wise and otherwise. But what was fascinating is, as a little kid, I remember she was like quite a feisty, open-minded woman for having lived in Iran at the time that she did 30 years ago. But she was always thinking outside the box. So one day we were going to the apothecary and like getting herbs. And another day we were going to the acupuncturist and getting pain control through that. And another day we're going to the traditional medical, Western doctor and getting medications or, tests done or whatever. And so I grew up I guess getting exposed to thinking in different ways and being exposed to different ways of looking at medicine and healing and illness and even different religions and different types of people. So I'm very grateful that she early on exposed me to thinking outside the box in various ways. But sadly enough, she actually had cancer. Later on, she developed cancer, which was interesting. So she had been a radiology technician before I was born. And so the thought was that maybe they didn't use protection for x-rays really appropriately. And so the thought was that she had developed these autoimmune conditions and then later oral cancer, maybe partly at least as a side effect of overexposure to radiation. So anyway, she passed away and I left and came to the US. And I had always had a thought of, continuing to be in medicine in some form and went on to medical school eventually. And within a year of being in family medicine residency, I burned out and just kind of plummeted. And I think everything in my life kind of caught up with me when I wasn't sleeping much and, didn't have any control over my life, and sort of burnout happened and all of that. And so I left medicine. So at, a couple of years into my residency, I was really like just not wanting to do this anymore and not thinking it was the right field for me. I felt out of place in many ways. So I left medicine not knowing if I was ever going to come back to it or if I was ever going to find my own voice and my own healing and my own reasons for returning. And that took me on yet another journey, which required a lot of my own personal growth and healing work. Again, looking outside the box. Some of it was through Western medicine and some of it had to really look outside. Of being unexpectedly a foster mom to 3 children with PTSD from Afghanistan. Which taught me many things I didn't know I was going to learn. And that brought me to becoming really interested in trauma and the psyche and mind-body medicine. And I basically returned to medicine residency and psychiatry in Tucson here where I live. Then went on to Boston Children's Hospital to do a fellowship in child and adolescent psychiatry. While the marathon bombing happened. And anyway, long story short, I came back to Tucson and did an integrative medicine fellowship as well. And now have helped create what is I guess, one of the first integrative psychiatry fellowships in the nation, maybe even the world, where we bring merging of thinking outside the box to mental health. And that has everything to do from looking at people's nutrition and traumas and genes and epigenetics and their lifestyle, their belief system, their cultures. So I'm very fortunate that I got a lot of support and help along the way to find my own voice and then come to what I do now, which is support a lot of medical students and residents and fellows to go through their journeys as they are navigating this crazy world that we're living in with a pandemic and the many injustices and the moral injuries and other aspects of our system that are broken. And so I'm glad that I learned about HPEC from a colleague of mine. I don't even know if she's here, and if last year sometime. And I think I'll just say this, I don't want to be the one talking the whole time. So I'll just say what really caught my eye and still is feel we have gotten to a point in this nation and in the world where we can no longer wait for some policy, somebody else, high up to say, all right, we're going to fix this way. That almost everything that is going to eventually shift and turn the corner and help a better system for all of us is going to have to happen with grassroots efforts where people really care about, whatever it is, come together, speak up, find their voices, help each other, and then shift the brokenness. And I think we're going to see that, where it comes to race issues and healthcare issues and education issues and epidemiology of the virus. Like, none of this is going to happen with like the most powerful person saying, this is the way we're going to do it. So I guess I'm grateful for Leah and whoever has had the willingness to come together, all of you, those who are not here, to help create a movement within medicine to help us all think outside the box, support each other, learn from each other's skill sets and strengths, so we can hopefully together create something that we can all benefit from without being spokes in a wheel at the mercy of somebody else telling us what to do and not wanting to do this anymore. So I'll stop there.
Thank you so much for that. We've had multiple conversations and I feel like I know you, but I just learned a bunch of things. I had never known that you had done the fostering thing and your history of your journey to the US. But I think what's really awesome is that, Noshene Dr. Ranjbar has just demonstrated that we collectively, the physicians that are here right now, we're all out of the box thinkers. We believe in this opportunity. We believe in the power of us and our ability to collectively do something about this together. And people ask me all the time, well, what kind of doctors would really benefit from this the most? I'm like, listen, we have private practice docs, we have employed docs, but one thing that always reigns true is these are out of the box thinkers, not tethered to the status quo, and understand that, we have the power to do something. And so I think that that's really awesome. And I'm really grateful to have you and to have everybody else here to share what we're going to do next. And I have to say, I'm looking at who's here, and I'd say about 50% of you are already investors who I've met before, spoken to before. And then there's some people who I've never met. So I just want to remind everyone that we're recording this. And if you want to speak, you just hit the unmute button. Dr. Ranjbar is going to take us on this journey into our future. I don't know if everybody's got their crayons. Does everybody have crayons and paper? I'm really excited to do this. You ready to get going?
I am. I don't know if everybody else is. So, for anyone who wasn't here when we first started chatting, if you wouldn't mind sharing where you are and, what you do or anything about yourself, just so we get to know each other on some level. You don't have to, but it would be lovely. And I guess as a opening to what it is we're going to experience, I'll share that one of the many things that helped me return to medicine and stay was my training through the Center for Mind Body Medicine, which was started, I guess, 25 years or so ago by Dr. James Gordon, also a psychiatrist. Now in his 70s. And he was one of those outside thinkers who realized that our system in many ways was broken and decided to take what he was learning about psychoneuroimmunology and the connection between our mind, thoughts, emotions, brain functions, and immune system, and how we deal with stress, and turn it into a curriculum to do skills training on a global level with anyone who has experienced traumas, either historically, intergenerationally, or present day, that is likely affecting how they're thinking, how they're feeling, and how they're working in the world. And so I was introduced to it as a second year resident in psychiatry. And at first I was like, I'm not going to do this stuff. And then I went and it changed my life in many ways. And so that's actually one of the exercises that I'm going to share with you guys if you're willing to be courageous and crazy enough to go on it with me. So if you have 3 pieces of white paper, or even if you just have one piece, we'll make it work. Please number them 1, 2, and 3. And then have crayons or colored pencils. Or the other day I asked somebody and they said, can I just bring my makeup and use those colors? I said, sure, whatever you got. So number the pages 1, 2, and 3. And then I ask you to, I'm going to play music in just a little bit, but until then, I welcome you to just sit back wherever you're sitting and allow your eyes to close, or maybe find a place not too far away from where you're sitting to have a gentle, soft gaze. And the idea is to bring your energy and your attention inward, away from all the hustle and bustle and all the comings and goings and expectations and stresses, and bring your attention to your own self. Notice your posture. Notice how you're sitting. Notice how you're holding your shoulders. Notice your spine. Perhaps notice if you can have it more erect so that you're vertical, with the crown of your head pointing straight up to the sky, and with your feet, with your sacrum pointing straight down into the earth. Trying not to judge and trying to make it perfect or anything, but just noticing what it feels like to just settle into your body, settle into the floor, the chair, wherever you're sitting. Imagine your feet as being your capacity to center and feel rooted and grounded, like you belong here. Like you are like a tree whose roots go deep into the earth, is stable, is filled with strength. And imagine your arms and your head and the rest of your body being like the branches of the tree reaching up into the sky. So you feel connected to the environment around you. And then bring your attention to the movement of the breath. Again, trying to not judge or make it perfect, but just notice. Notice your breath as it moves in through the nostrils. See if you can breathe in through the nose and out through the lips, which can be a particularly cooling and calming way to breathe. Imagine the air moving from your nostrils, maybe causing a little bit of coolness in the opening of the nostrils as you feel the breath moving in, and then moving through the back of the nose, through the back of the throat, down into the trachea, going into the lungs, expanding the lungs with fresh oxygen, fresh air, all those alveoli, receiving the oxygen and then allowing for the exchange into the bloodstream. And see if you can keep your abdomen soft so that you're taking a full deep breath inside, into through the nose and then out through the lips. When we are tense or stressed, we unconsciously hold our abdomen tight, hold our shoulders tight. And so this is a reminder to release, allowing the belly to be soft so you can take a nice deep breath. And physiologically, what happens is that the vagus nerve, just the wandering nerve that goes from the base of the limbic system, the brain, all the way down the spinal cord, innervates the lungs, the heart, slows everything down. It moves through the diaphragm into the abdominal space where it innervates the gut, our ability to rest and digest, our reproductive system. And the vagus nerve is quite a wonder. So when we take a nice deep breath and the diaphragm stretches, that vagus nerve, as it's traveling through the diaphragm, gets stimulated and releases relaxing molecules through the entire system. So it's kind of our reset button, our capacity free of charge within each one of us to stimulate that vagus nerve as it travels through the diaphragm, through our capacity to take a breath. And as you breathe out through the mouth, imagine yourself releasing burdens, releasing tensions, stresses, patterns that perhaps at some point helped with survival and helped you get through life. But now at this moment, you can release them. Taking a couple of more moments as you breathe in, imagine a sense of hope, a sense of new possibilities. And as you breathe out, imagine letting go, releasing, allowing your system to enjoy perhaps a few moments of experimenting in this way with your own capacity to center yourself, to support yourself, to nurture your system. Taking a couple of more moments as thoughts or distractions or whatever might come to the mind, which it often does, allow them to come and go without judgment, without trying to fix anything, and bring the attention back to the movement of the breath in and the movement of the breath out. And so Now, I invite you to check in with your body, any sensations you notice, any part of the body that might be asking for a little stretch or a shift or a move. And allowing yourself to take care of yourself, even during this little few moments that we have together, to be aware of what you need and your own capacity to be and to experience life in this moment. So we're going to be doing a drawing expression activity. You can keep your eyes closed if that's okay, just for a few more moments. And so for the first drawing, I'm going to give you instructions. And so for this first one, I want you to bring to your mind how you see yourself within medicine, within the healthcare profession, within your current experience of it at this moment in your life. It could be, whatever way you relate to how you see our healthcare system, our medical model, our medical profession, either as a patient experiencing it or as a clinician or whatever role you have, or an administrator. And so when you're ready, allow your eyes to open and pick a few different colors of crayons or whatever colors you have. And in that first page, as you listen to the music that I'll play in a minute, create an image of how you see yourself within this current model of healthcare, medical profession as we have it at this time. And this is not about being an artist, it's just playing with colors and allowing your unconscious, wiser self to just express. And we'll have a few minutes to do this. Does anybody have any questions? If so, feel free to put them on the chat box. So again, you're drawing yourself within the medical profession, healthcare, as you see yourself and the system at this time, whatever that looks like. Symbols, colors, etc. take another 30 seconds to a minute to bring this particular drawing to a close, knowing you can always come back and add more to it. And when you're ready, turn it over and take out paper number 2. So I welcome you as you put that one away, take out number 2 and come back to just noticing your posture, perhaps closing your eyes or picking a place in front of you to look at in a gentle gaze, and go back to noticing your breath. Just recentering, noticing your feet on the ground, taking a couple of more gentle, compassionate, kind breaths for yourself. If emotions come up or discomfort comes up, notice it and just let it be, let it move through if you're able to. And take another breath or so, settling in, resetting your system. And this time, for the drawing number 2, imagine the current darknesses and challenges within our healthcare system. So obstacles, problems, challenges, whatever comes to mind from whatever perspective you're coming from. And when you're ready, open your eyes and again, pick a few crayons, and in paper number 2, create an image of obstacles, problems, challenges, maybe just a few if you can think of many, 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 and create an image in paper number 2 of some of those imperfections and problems and challenges within our medical system, our healthcare system, that really stand out, again, at this time in your experience. And I'm going to play some music again, and we'll have a few moments. And try not to judge, but just let whatever comes and express whatever your grudges are in our current system. This is the time to express in colors and symbols and shapes. You can even use words if you'd like to. Taking another 30 seconds to a minute to bring this one to a close, knowing you can always come back later and add to it. Great. Everybody's still here. And I welcome you to come back to that posture of connection to yourself. Reconnect with your breath, the movements in and out, perhaps allowing the eyes to close or pick a spot on the floor so you can have attention to your inner wisdom, your inner self. Taking a couple of more relaxing, calming, centering breaths, compassionate to yourself, to your experience of life. And this time, I invite you to bring to your imagination that maybe about 10 years from now, you wake up. Somehow we all make it to then. And you wake up and you see a very different system. You see a completely recreated, revolutionized, maybe healed, I guess is one way to put it. Healthcare system, medical profession, that where all of those problems you just expressed in drawing number 2 have gone away. Somehow they've been dealt with through the wisdom of all the good people that have come together and not put up with just the same old. And imagine waking up 10 years from now to a very different system of medicine where you feel really good. It feels equitable, it works well, it runs well, people are getting what they need, and you feel like you're no longer struggling with whatever was on the number 2. And so when you're ready, open your eyes and imagine yourself 10 years from now waking up, and what would it look like? What would it feel like to be a patient in, or a physician in, or an administrator in a system, a healthcare system and a medical profession that had made a lot of strides and was in a very different place, where people were getting well, people loved doing what they did, and things were very different from what they are in that number 2. And again, take a few moments, open your eyes, pick some colors, and whatever symbols, words, images that come to your mind in this other realm 10 years from now, allow them to find their way to the paper. And here's some music to go with it. another 30 seconds or so, bringing your drawing to a close. Great. So I hope everyone was able to participate, and this is the time when we get to go around and whoever's willing can share what you came up with. And I am eager if anyone is willing to go first, and if not, then you'll have to watch me show mine. Who wants to start? No pressure.
Are we still muted?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay, show you what I got here. What do you want to see? Look, I did this on a computer.
Will you tell us who you are? And
Hi, Juan LaRoche here, San Francisco.
great.
And I did this with a mouse. I've never used this program before. It's basically paint program, so it's very, very rustic. It's something. It's a third or fifth grade thing. Okay.
Yep.
But it's you know, it's okay. Let's just tell you how I feel about this.
Can you show us?
Sure. You want to see number one first? Is that where you want to
Yeah,
see?
we'd love to see the first one, how you see things at this moment.
Let's see how I can switch this around here. How am I going to switch my view? I'll switch my view. How do I switch my view? Oh, who knows? I'll turn it around. Okay, this is how I see medicine right now. My role in it. Okay. I'm marginal, and the powers that be are in black. Well, like that. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
The ones that blue are like the clients. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
And
That's it.
number two, your biggest,
Number two.
all the problems.
All right. The problems. Those are my eyes as I go around in circles, switching constantly in this chaos. All right. We're in the middle of chaos. Okay. We're in a dysfunctional, chaotic environment. All right. Next. Yep. All right.
You wake up in 10 years and oh my goodness.
Here's people strutting down the way, and things are pretty organized. You know, there's lots of less stress here. Okay. All right.
Great. And tell us what it was like doing this. If you've done anything like this before, or just looking at the...
I think that I think it's actually fun to paint. Okay, and I think that this is the abstractness of it is gets to your emotions, and this is how I feel about it. This is about expressing emotions in color.
Yes, wonderful.
All right.
And are you already an HPEC member investor or not yet?
Yes, yes,
and
I am.
So what is one way you can see what that mess in number two getting to number three through HPEC? What is one way you would say that this model of doing things might help with that process?
It might help the physician have more control over the black that you saw. Mm-hmm. All right. I think that's simple.
Great. Thank you. Anything else you'd like to say before we hear from someone else?
That's the main goal here.
Yeah.
Is we gotta get rid of the black, by the way. Eventually we gotta get rid of the black. Yeah. All right. Now I don't know if HPEC will get rid of the black, but it's one of the good steps forward. It would be a good step forward.
And what does black represent?
Corporate medicine, chaos, dysfunction. It's just, labyrinth of poor care.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right.
Who is willing to share next?
Go.
Yeah, great. Who are you?
Mark Lopatin. I'm a rheumatologist outside Philadelphia. I am not an artist. I didn't have colors. So this is all through pen. So this
Go
is
for it.
picture number 1. And what you can see here, it's small, is this, I can point to it, down here, is me. And what is above me are people who are holding me like a marionette with strings controlling my legs, my head, my arms, and represents corporate medicine dictating what I do.
Mm.
And I don't even have it as bad as some because I'm in private practice. But for some people, this is how they practice medicine. They have no free will. They're no control over what they do. Picture number 2 is more of the same, but this is me completely bound.
Excellent.
Completely tied up, and unable to move freely, unable to practice medicine the way I want to practice. And picture 3 is the easy one, because what this represents, if you can see, is this is the sun, and this is me lying on a beach chair, laying out in the sun, because I'm retiring at the end of the year, and I will have nothing more to do with the nonsense from the standpoint of a physician. I've had enough.
That's great. And can you tell us, depending on your understanding of HPEC, one way that the rest of us who are still in this mess, maybe 10 years from now, might benefit?
I still think it boils down to who's in control, and anything that gives data to physicians and allows them to practice independently is going to hopefully help us better take care of our patients. Because right now the corporatization of medicine is dictating how we practice, and not for the right reasons. Population medicine is replacing individual medicine, and patients are suffering for that. And it wouldn't be so bad if it were acknowledged. If the people in corporate practice would say, we recognize that individual people are going to be hurt. We recognize this. We're putting these policies in place with the goal of trying to help as many people as possible. And if they had credibility in saying that, it wouldn't be so bad. But they put forth the idea that we're doing what's best for patients. We're trying to help patients. We're looking for value. And it's just an absolute lie. There's no credibility there, and there's no evidence that these rules in place are for the benefit of individual patients. And we are, in practice, are the ones who have to deal with the individual patients who come to us suffering and want to know why we're not doing more when our hands are tied.
Thank you. It's a beautiful depiction, and the dishonesty is what I'm hearing. The inauthenticity of the system that makes us all feel like we're slaves and tangled up. Great. And what was this like for you to do this?
I have no artistic ability. This was hard.
You did great.
Just trying to get an idea on paper is not my forte. I'm much better with words than with pictures.
You did wonderful. Thank you. Who else? Yay, Mehnaz. Hi.
Hi.
You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Mehnaz. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm in Silicon Valley. I left my VA job a few weeks ago and I'm starting private practice. Cash, no more insurance. Okay, picture 1. Same chaos theme. It turned out looking like a genie. The genie has shackles all over the place, and the little black dots are people. Those are patients, human beings, who are falling and bleeding to death and suffocating, and the genie is crying. So that's picture 1. It turned out, I didn't imagine a genie, it just became that way, because the doctor is holding up all of this nonsense, chaos. What was the theme of picture 2? I forgot. Oh, the obstacles.
Challenges, yeah.
The challenges. So I didn't get much time. I see the doctor as like center of medicine, holding up the world, wearing a crown. I am kind of into glam things though. And those are serpents who are evil from hell with fangs and forked tongues. And the doctor is crying and there are chains and shackles.
What's the blue thing on top, the round?
The world.
The world. Okay, got it. Oh, on top of the doctor's head.
Yeah, and there's still, and the world is going on. It's rotating as it's supposed to, or on its own axis, but there's human beings flying off of it.
So 10 years from now.
It was a lot of, I needed more meditation to do the 10 years from now. And you won't be able to see, it's very light colors, but I see a waterfall feeding into a lake, feeding into rivers and tributaries and sun. So that's order. And the way it's supposed to flow in a way that benefits and promotes life. And there's no suffering or death in this. There is suffering, because that's inevitable in our profession, but compassion is not chained, and we're allowed to be compassionate truly and true to the patient, not to our bosses.
Great. And one way that you believe HPEC could help do this or contribute to it anyway?
Because I think the crux of the problem is the murder of physician autonomy. But we're actually alive. We were asleep, and now we are rising, and we're sneaking up on them, because I think good always has to win. And so regaining physician, seizing autonomy for the benefit of the patient, rather than for the predatory third parties in between. So I still have a big picture view. But how we can do that is not share data with predatory third parties and use data specifically for the benefit of the patient.
Great. Thank you. And for anyone who joined later, what those 3 activities were, we're basically using the science of mind-body medicine to explore our imagination and express in ways that we don't usually get to. And so the first one was how we see ourselves within the healthcare system or medicine now. The second one is the darkness, the difficulties, the challenges, and what they feel like and look like. And the third one is we wake up 10 years from now and somehow with a lot of effort, things have shifted and things actually work well and feel good for people who are seeking help and wanting to help. And so those were the 3 prompts. Is there someone else who's willing to go, since we still have a couple minutes? Leah, were you trying to? There you go. Come.
I can show mine. It's funny because my last one looks a lot like Dr. LaRock's a little bit. But my first one, if you look, I'm an octopus or a septopus. I don't know how many, I don't think I did enough arms. And I'm doing everything. I am trying to do everything. I have a mask on because it's coronavirus. And, you know, prescriptions, PBMs, there's a justice, you know, thing where I'm trying to decide who gets what. I have all these patients in one hand, a computer. So that's the first one.
That's a free octopus. I gotta point out, that's a free octopus. It's free.
Free? What do you mean?
Well, it has liberty.
Oh, well.
You may be busy, but it looks like it has liberty.
Oh, okay. I thought I made my hair all fried and frazzled looking because I was like, this is not sustainable.
Yeah, I understand. No,
I'm only one octopus. I can't do it all.
Yeah, I understand.
It's a feisty octopus, I think.
Exactly.
Okay, go for it.
And so this is, the second picture was like how horrible things are. And so this is the administrator, all of the paperwork on their desk. He's angry. This is an RVU factory hospital and it's on fire, but he's still in there, like with the clock, you know, upset that the clock is, you know, not where it's supposed to be. And he's thinking of MIPS and MACRA and MOC and PBMs and GPOs and all the things. And the place is burning down, and he's still mad at me and looking at the clock rather than realizing that these flames need to go out.
Wow.
Amazing. Okay, what's going to happen in 10 years?
So in 10 years, this is all the doctors connected to one another, and like we're dancing around the patient, getting the patient the best care. And I use like a rainbow colors, just like Dr. Larac, because, you know, we're all, and if you look, there's no stacks of paper. There's not even any computers. There's just the doctor and the patient. And I didn't really even think about that until after, but, you know, I don't want us to think about all the other stuff when this new system is built. I want it to just be us and our patients, and that's it. So that's the hope for the system that you guys are all helping me build. So thank you.
Thank you. I know that we are an hour into this, but if people are willing to stay a few more minutes, I would love to see one more, or we could close. Leah, you tell us.
Well, anyone can take off. I'd like to do a few more minutes because I'd like to, number one, give anybody else an opportunity to share if they want to, but also if anybody has any questions. You know, the majority of people here, I think, have been a part of this, are investors, but there's a few new names that I see. And I want to let everybody know who hasn't come to any of these calls. This is not a normal call for us. You know, this is a different kind of call. You know, we did a little exercise, and so it's not always going to be this way, but we always like to give everybody an opportunity to ask any questions that they might have while I'm here, able to answer them in person, and introduce yourself if you'd like. I don't know if anybody does want to speak.
Hi.
Hello.
Who said hi?
It was Linda.
Oh.
Linda, you were unmuted for a minute, but now you're muted again.
Unmute yourself. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can.
Okay. Here's my picture number one. I'm the patient. I'm Leah's mom, and I go often to the hospital. And recently I had a knee issue, so I had not only my mask on, but also a cane. So I had to get interrogated at the entrance. Took my temperature, make sure I had my mask on. What else? I can't even see it. But I was patiently waiting at the door to get in to see the doctor. That's number one. And my picture number two was the cost of transportation to get to the hospital. During COVID, the cost to get to the hospital by Uber was doubled in price. So that was rather annoying to me as the patient, as I don't drive that far distance. I drive, you know, short distances. And the last picture, number three, was hopes that in 10 years from now, hopefully I'll be here to see my grandchildren. And that's it. And I thank you all so very, very much for being part of HPEC. I share a lot, as my daughter knows. Okay. God
Wow,
bless
it's
you all.
so nice to meet you. And now I see where this amazing woman comes from.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you also. Thank you.
My biggest fan. My mother and she was with me from the birth of this company. She was with me the day I built the website by myself when I didn't even know how to build a website, and, you know, right there next to me. So she's one of, you know, she's my biggest fan. So I'm always glad to see her here. Thanks, Mom. Anyone else? No?
I'll show mine really quick.
Okay.
Can I show mine? So
Very.
mine is very similar to a lot of yours, but basically this is the first one with a lot of, I see, you know, many of us shining light within a lot of boxes of chaos and restrictions, and you can't do this, and you can't do this way, and you have to do this. And so this is me trying to form and like do something good, and it's like hitting against all of these black boxes. And when we did the problems and challenges, all I could think of was a lot of words and boxes. So corruption, greed, selfishness, ego, lack of sharing resources, prejudices, inequalities, just money as the only objective for the entire thing. And then 10 years from now, I guess very similar to what some of you drew, which was a sense of order, of flow, of you know, things actually working out in a way that feels alive and whole.
Love it. Beautiful.
And
well, I want to say thank you so much for that exercise. I think it's really good to like take a moment and to really think through some of these things. And then it's really fun, as Dr. Lopatin said, to, you know, draw and do something fun once in a while. And I'm really grateful to everyone here for taking the time to be here, to learn about this opportunity, to consider the possibility that we can build our future for ourselves. And when we take part in this, you know, we're not just investing in a company that might change things. You know, we're giving ourselves the gift of the possibility of change, and we're giving our fellow colleagues this gift also, because when we build this, we're giving it away. We want to build this and design it and give it to our physician colleagues. And so it's really a special, very unique opportunity. And so I'm grateful to those who became a part of it already. I'm grateful to those who are considering it. And I want to let everybody know, you know, even if you aren't going to invest, you know, we have lots of opportunities for people to participate and become a part of this. You know, we are building our MVP as we speak, and we're going to need feedback from the community, what they like, what they don't like, what's working, what's not working. We have an opportunity for surveys where people who do 5 surveys are entered to win $500 because we, you know, everybody's time is valuable and we do want people to participate. And so in order to design and build this for you and for us and for all physicians and patients, we need as many people as possible to participate. So please share it with your fellow physician colleagues. If people are like, I don't have any money to invest, let them know about these other opportunities to still become a part of the movement and to join us on this journey, you know, to grab hold of this new idea and this new potential opportunity to change the course of history. And so that's what it's about. And unless anybody had anything they wanted to add or ask, I'm gonna say good night and say thank you.
thank you all for playing along.
All right.
And thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
See you. Thank you.
Good night.
Yes, thank you.